The rain battered against the apartment door, but the pounding on it was unmistakably human.
Who the hell is banging on my door at this hour?
He unlocked the deadbolt and pulled the door open, rainwater blowing across his face.
Asahi, I know I have no right to come here.
You're right. You don't. What are you doing here, Yuka?
Please, just listen. I have nowhere else to go. He threw me out the moment he doubted. This baby is yours, Asahi.
That's impossible. You left 3 years ago. How long did it take you to climb out of his bed and crawl back here?
I was pregnant before I left you. I didn't know until it was too late. Please, look at him. He has your eyes.
Asahi stared at the infant's face, the tiny features obscured by rain and blanket, his mind recoiling from the claim.
Let me in, Asahi. For the baby's sake, we can talk inside, please.
Asahi's hand fell from the doorframe, and Yuka stumbled inside as if the rain itself was chasing her.
She looks exactly the same. The same perfume. The same way she clutches at fragile things.
Asahi, I've thought about you every single day. Leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life, but I was young and stupid.
Don't. You left me for a 40-year-old hotel owner because I couldn't buy you a future. That wasn't stupid, it was calculated.
The baby whimpered, and Yuka rocked him desperately, her eyes darting around the small apartment.
Please, I can't do this alone. He's your son. Look at his fingers, the shape of his mouth. Surely you can feel it?
I don't feel anything. We'll do a DNA test. Until then, you can sleep here. But don't mistake this for forgiveness.
A test? Asahi, that's cold. I came to you because I thought you were still the kind man I loved.
The man you love doesn't exist anymore. You made sure of that. The test is tomorrow morning.
Yuka's shoulders sagged. She allowed herself to be guided to the couch. The baby nestled between them like a fragile truce. Asahi stared at the rain, and for a moment 3 years dissolved into bitter memory. 3 years ago, on a clear spring afternoon, Yuka turned her back on him. A black car waited at the curb. Inside, Hiroshi, the hotel owner, took her hand and pulled her into a world of silk and privilege. Asahi spent months in library stacks, rebuilding a life from the debris she left.
Hiroshi doubted the baby was his. He said his age made conception impossible, so I must have cheated.
Did you? Faithful is not a word I would use for you.
No, he threw me out anyway, said he would ruin me if I ever came back.
She is hiding something. The story flows too easily, like it was practiced.
I came to you because you are the only one who ever loved me without demanding something in return.
Asahi did not speak. The silence stretched, filled by rain and the small breaths of a baby that might not be his. Morning came, the rain stopped, but the apartment air stayed thick. Asahi drove them to the clinic in a silence that Yuka kept trying to fill.
Asahi, thank you for doing this. I know it's hard, but the test will prove I'm telling the truth.
She's touching me like we're still together. Like the last 3 years didn't happen.
A nurse swabbed his cheek. Then the baby's Yuka held the infant steady, her eyes never leaving Asahi's face.
A few cells and a week of waiting. That's all between me and a truth I might not survive.
I made your favorite. Remember how we used to cook together? We could have that again. Asahi.
Focus on the baby, Yuka, not on me. This isn't a homecoming.
Days passed. Yuka left notes on the fridge, little hearts and old promises. Asahi crumpled each one without reading.
2 more days. I just need to hold the line until the results.
Tomorrow the results would arrive. Rain returned, hammering the glass as if it knew what was coming. The notification chimed at 7:12 a.m. Asahi had been staring at the ceiling, waiting. His phone buzzed twice, then went still. The email subject line read, "Your DNA test results. The body, in stark black text. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. The alleged father is excluded as the biological parent."
0%. So the whole thing was a lie from the start. No surprise, but it still landed like a kick to the ribs.
He swung his legs off the bed and walked into the living room. Yuka was on the floor, the baby propped against a cushion, her face brightening when she saw him.
Yuka, Look at this.
He turned the phone screen toward her. The blue light washed over her features, erasing her smile in slow motion.
What is that? No, that can't be right. They must have mixed up the samples. Asahi, I swear I didn't know.
The lab doesn't make mistakes. You knew all along this baby wasn't mine.
Yuka crumbled, her body folding onto the couch where the baby began to wail. Her hands shook, mascara bleeding down her cheeks.
I'm sorry. I lied. The baby isn't yours, but it's Hiroshi's. He didn't believe me. He said he's too old to father a child.
Hiroshi's? You spent the last week swearing the baby was mine, and now you pivot to the man who kicked you out. Do you have any idea how hollow that sounds?
I was scared. Hiroshi has money, power. He could ruin me. I thought if I told you the truth from the start, you'd throw me out.
I should throw you out anyway. You can stay in the living room tonight. Don't speak to me again.
That night, with Yuka and the baby sealed behind the bedroom door, Asahi opened his laptop. The screen became a hunting ground. A 3-year-old lifestyle magazine article surfaced. Hotel magnate Hiroshi Endo at 40. Why I had a vasectomy after my second son. I knew my legacy was secured.
Vasectomized. She didn't just lie, she lied about something verifiable in 5 minutes of searching. Pathetic. Yuka. Hiroshi had a vasectomy. There is 0 chance that baby is his.
I didn't know. He never told me.
Asahi didn't wait for a better lie. He retreated back to his laptop and began digging into Hiroshi's family. The hotel website showed a photo. Hiroshi, his wife, and a son, Ryo, 20.
Hiroshi's son, 20 years old, living on campus. If the baby isn't Hiroshi's but Yuka was living under his roof, could he be the father?
Asahi placed a printed photo of Ryo on the table. Yuka paused mid-bottle, her eyes locking onto the image.
This is Hiroshi's son, Ryo. He's 20, in college. Is there a chance that baby in your arms is his?
Yuka's hand trembled, and the bottle clattered to the floor. Her face drained white as she stared at the photo.
Ryo? How do you know about him? That's not relevant. Fine. I slept with him, okay? He was charming. He listened, and Hiroshi was never around. I was lonely, Asahi. When I got pregnant, Ryo panicked. He said I was trapping him. His father would disown him. He cut me off completely.
So you came back to me. The backup plan. The timeline reeks, Yuka. You were with Ryo before you left Hiroshi? Her story still doesn't add up. She dodged the timeline like she's guarding something bigger.
I had nowhere else. You're the only one who ever saw me as a person. I was desperate. Asahi, please.
Asahi stood up, his expression unreadable. The truth was closer now, but he could feel Yuka still clutching a hidden piece.
You're leaving tonight. Pack the diaper bag. I won't be your fallback.
You can't. The baby's barely 2 months old. He needs stability, warmth. He could get sick. Asahi.
She's weaponizing him again, but if something happens to the infant, I'll never forgive myself.
A wheeze cut through the room. The baby's tiny chest strained, his lips tinged blue. Yuka screamed. Asahi grabbed the car seat. Rain slashed at them as they burst into the ER, nurses swarming the fragile bundle. The baby lay on a metal crib, oxygen tubes taped to his face. Asahi stood behind the glass, his reflection ghostly.
He's tiny, but he's a fighter. Just like I need you to be.
I should walk away. But his heartbeat is hooked to a monitor, and somehow I'm still here.
The doctor said he's stable. We can go home in the morning. We'll handle it together, right?
Together. She's already building the cage, and the worst part, I am too tired to tear it down tonight.
The next night, after Yuka had fed the baby and drifted into exhausted sleep, Asahi sat alone with his laptop. On Ryo's social page, a photo from a hotel gala. Ryo laughing, Hiroshi's hand on his shoulder, their eyes the same.
Those eyes. I know those eyes. Not from a screen. From somewhere deeper.
He pushed the laptop away and crossed to a metal file cabinet his mother had left him years ago. From a creased envelope, he drew a single photograph his mother had never burned. Hiroshi stood with a woman who was not his wife, and a small boy with light hair, the same hair as Ryo.
This boy, it's Ryo. Hiroshi is my father. Ryo is my half-brother. The baby Ryo's son is my nephew. She came to me not for love, but because she knew.
The photo fell to the desk. Asahi stared at the wall, feeling the past rewrite itself in real time.
She didn't just lie about paternity. She weaponized my existence. Tomorrow, she explains everything.
Morning light spilled over the baby's blanket as Asahi walked into the living room, his face carved from stone. Without a word, he placed 2 photographs on the coffee table, the old family portrait beside the printed image of Ryo.
What is this? That boy, I don't understand. That old picture, where did you get it?
The boy is Ryo. The man standing beside him is my father, Hiroshi Endo. Ryo is my half-brother.
No, that's insane. You're making this up to punish me. There's no way.
Your face betrays you. You knew. You knew exactly who Ryo was when you crawled into his bed, and you knew exactly who I was when you crawled back to mine.
Yuka's mouth opened, but no sound came. The baby whimpered, and she clutched him like a shield.
How long have you been planning this? Did you pick me out before you ever met Hiroshi?
I didn't plan. It wasn't like that. Please, Asahi, you have to believe.
No more half-truths, Yuka. You're going to tell me everything. Right now.
Yuka's composure shattered. She sank into the couch, the baby pressed against her chest like a totem.
I found an old photo album in Hiroshi's study. There was a picture of him with a woman who wasn't his wife, and a boy. You. I asked Hiroshi. He told me about you, his first son, the one he abandoned. I realized you were the same Asahi I had dated. When Ryo got me pregnant, I saw the way to keep the Endo money close. You'd raise the baby as your own, never suspecting he was your brother's child.
She planned everything. My pain was just a stepping stone to Hiroshi's fortune.
I was going to give you a family. Once the baby was accepted, Hiroshi would have to acknowledge us. We'd all be set for life.
Set for life? You turned my existence into a transaction. You used my blood to tie a knot around a baby you conceived with my half-brother.
I didn't have a choice. Hiroshi threw me out when he suspected the baby wasn't his. Ryo disappeared. You were the only safe harbor.
Safe harbor? You thought I'd raise my nephew as my son while you collected the inheritance?
The room felt smaller, the baby's cry a thin wire between them. The scheme lay bare, but the damage had only begun to unfold.
Pack your things. Get out of my apartment. Now.
You can't throw a mother and infant into the street. He'll die out there.
I gave you shelter. You repaid me with a conspiracy. The baby is your problem.
Asahi, I still love you. Everything I did was for us. We can still be a family.
Stop. You don't get to use that word with me. You never loved anyone.
Asahi grabbed the diaper bag from the corner and started shoving baby supplies inside.
You want the baby out there? Then you'll have to go through me.
She's cornered, and a cornered animal bites. But I'm not backing down.
If you try to force us out, I'll scream so loud the neighbors call the police. I'll tell them you're abusing us.
They stood frozen, the baby wailing, the packed bag at Asahi's feet, Yuka's back pressed against the door.
Fine. I'll call Hiroshi and every tabloid in the city. Tell them you're a deadbeat who abandoned his own child.
Do it. Tell them everything. I will hand the police a notebook of your lies. Try me.
Yuka's arm shot out, shoving the baby carrier into Asahi's chest so hard he stumbled backward.
Take him then. I never wanted this brat anyway.
She snatched her bag from the floor, threw open the door, and vanished into the rain. The slam shuddered through the walls.
She's gone. She actually left him. What do I do with a screaming infant?
The baby wailed, its tiny face red and crumpled. Asahi's hands trembled around the handle, the empty apartment suddenly cavernous.
I can't keep him. I can't throw him out. For once, I have no plan.
Outside, the rain hammered the window like a verdict. Inside, Asahi and the baby were the only 2 creatures left in the world.
First things first. Keep him warm. Keep him breathing. Then find Ryo.
The night bled into a sleepless cycle of bottles, diapers, and ragged rocking. The baby only slept in 20-minute fragments.
I could call child welfare. One call and he becomes someone else's problem.
His thumb hovered over the contact. The room was silent except for the baby's fragile breathing.
But that's exactly what Hiroshi did to me. Walked away without a backward glance.
A memory surfaced. A small boy staring at an empty doorway, waiting for a father who never returned.
I won't repeat his sins. This baby stays with me until I find the real father.
Morning light slanted through the rain. Asahi held the baby with a steadiness he didn't know he had.
Ryo will answer for this. If he thinks he can hide from me, he's wrong.
He reached out to a former colleague who could dig up a private phone number.
Today, I find my half-brother. Tomorrow, he meets his son.
Later that morning, Asahi dialed Hiroshi's direct line. The phone rang 3 times before a clipped voice answered.
Asahi, what do you want? I have no relationship with you.
Your son Ryo has a child, an infant boy. He's the father, and the mother abandoned him.
Ridiculous. And even if true, this is your mess. You brought that woman into your life? Clean it up yourself.
You abandoned me and my mother. Now history repeats with your golden son. You'll ignore this blood too. Then you're not a father, you're just a coward.
Hiroshi's line clicked dead. Asahi stared at the screen, his knuckles white around the phone.
Now, Ryo, he won't be able to hang up so easily.
He dialed Ryo's number, obtained from a mutual contact. A young, lazy voice answered.
Ryo Endo, this is Asahi. We need to meet privately. It's about Yuka and a very urgent family matter.
After a long pause, Ryo agreed, the arrogance in his voice replaced by wary confusion. Tomorrow, at a corner cafe. A gray morning squeezed between buildings. Asahi arrived early, an envelope pressed flat against his chest.
Well? The mysterious X. What's so urgent that you had to drag me out here?
Sit down, Ryo. You have a son, a 2-month-old boy. Yuka is the mother.
That's insane. Yuka was a fling. She was sleeping with my father too. If there's a kid, it's not mine.
Asahi took an envelope from his jacket and slid it across the table. Inside, lab results, a photo of the baby, a hair follicle chain of custody form.
A private lab matched your DNA to the baby. I got a sample from a comb in Yuka's bag. The probability is 99.99%. You are the father.
Ryo's fingers stopped midair. The smirk crumpled. His chair scraped back an inch.
This is a setup. You're trying to extort money. I'll have my lawyers crush you.
I don't want your money. I want you to acknowledge your son, or I file for paternity through the courts.
Ryo sat down again, the fight draining out of him. The proof was undeniable, and suddenly the cafe felt much smaller.
Fine. Name your price. 50,000. 100. Just make this go away.
You're not listening. I don't want money. I want you to take your son.
Take him? Are you crazy? My reputation, my future, my father will disown me. I can't have a bastard child.
Then you'll face a court order. I'll file for paternity and support. Your choice.
Wait, we can negotiate. I'll set up a trust, anonymous. You raise him, nobody knows.
You don't understand. I'm not your proxy parent. Either step up or be exposed.
If you do that, I'll ruin you. You think my father won't protect me? You're nobody.
We'll see who's nobody when the filings reach the press.
He turned and walked out of the cafe, the envelope tucked under his arm. The bell on the door jingled behind him. Ryo stood frozen, staring at the empty seat. The untouched coffee had gone cold. The apartment door swung open, and the smell of stale rain and cheap perfume hit Asahi before his eyes registered Yuka on the couch.
Don't start. I have nowhere else. The bus station closed. I slept on a bench with him.
I just came from your lover. Ryo has all the answers you pretended not to have.
Before Yuka could spin a reply, the door slammed open again. Ryo stood in the frame, chest heaving, rain-streaked and furious.
Meet your real father, baby. And Yuka, probably you know this already. Ryo is my half-brother. Our father is Hiroshi.
I told you already he knew. Ryo, you knew who I was when you got me pregnant and dumped me.
You set me up. You were supposed to disappear. My father warned me about women like you.
The baby wailed a sharp, piercing cry that cut through the shouting. Yuka clutched him tighter, using the sound like a weapon.
Look what you've done. He's yours, Ryo. Your blood. You owe us everything.
3 voices tangled in the small apartment, the baby's cry a single furious thread pulling them all toward collapse.
You want to pretend I don't exist, Ryo? I have every text, every photo. Want me to send them to your dean?
You wouldn't. That would destroy you two. You'd be exposed as a gold-digging cheater.
I'll tell them you got a teenager pregnant and abandoned her. Your father's hotel empire won't survive the scandal.
They're going to tear each other apart, and they deserve every splinter.
Give me 200,000, or by morning every journalist in the city gets a lovely story.
Ryo's mouth worked silently, his options dissolving in real time.
Asahi, you still love me. I know it. Take me back. Raise the baby together. I'll delete everything.
There is no together. There never was. You're a trap, Yuka, and I'm done walking into them.
Yuka's hand dropped, and something behind her eyes splintered, the last grasp of a scheme that had finally collapsed. In the silence that followed, the baby's soft hiccup was the only sound that still seemed to matter. Asahi took a slow step toward the baby carrier, his gaze sweeping over Yuka and Ryo like they were already ghosts. He lifted the infant carefully, resting the tiny head against his shoulder. The crying softened to a murmur.
I will file for guardianship. I will raise this child. Not for you, for him, because he's innocent. If either of you tries to interfere, I will release every document, every recording. You'll both burn.
Ryo's chest heaved once. Then he turned, fists clenched, and kicked the door shut behind him. Yuka's mouth opened, but no words came. She stared as if the floor had split beneath her. Asahi cradled the baby, his thumb brushing the blanket's edge. The rain outside sounded softer now.
This is real. I've just claimed a child. I don't even know his name.
The baby's tiny fingers wrapped around Asahi's index, a fragile, wordless grip. Yuka remained on the couch, motionless, a statue left behind after the flood. The apartment fell quiet. Yuka's shoulders began to shake, a low keening filling the empty room.
It's all gone. Everything I built, every lie, every plan, just ashes. I have nothing.
Outside, Ryo stood under a street lamp, his phone buzzing insistently with his father's name. He silenced it and walked on. In the bedroom, Asahi lowered the baby into a borrowed crib. The infant's breath steadied into a soft, rhythmic puff.
I've fought adults my whole life. Now a 2-month-old holds my finger and I'm undone.
He wiped the tear with his sleeve and moved to the desk. The laptop screen glowed a cold government blue. The top of the form read, "Petition for guardianship of a minor." Asahi clicked, "Begin application."
No one else will fight for you, so I will, even if it costs me everything.
On the couch, Yuka stared at the ceiling, her silent tears pooling in her ears. No one was left to witness. 3 lives separated by walls, one crumbling, one vanishing, one quietly beginning to hold. Morning light leaned through the rain-spattered window, gentler now than it had been in weeks. Asahi stood by the crib, a plain white mug in his hand, dark circles carved under his eyes. On the table lay a stack of papers, the top sheet stamped with a single red word, "Approved." He set the mug down and traced the edge of the crib with his finger. The baby stirred, but did not wake.
You won't be used. Not ever.
The words hung in the stillness, a promise woven into the morning air. A faint, sad smile crossed his lips, the first in years that didn't feel borrowed. Outside, the rain that had lasted for so long finally began to ease. 3 lives had collided in that small apartment. One remained. One would be enough. Asahi picked up his coffee, now cold, and drank it anyway. The day had just begun.